Well, alrighty then. How's everybody out there in YouTube land, huh? So today we're going to be listening to Bryan singing a song called Jesus About My Kids. And it's, the story of one man who is dealing with raising children and trying to bring them up in faith and in God's love. And it's an uphill battle today because so much out there is challenging that. And, a fellow the other day asked me why I believe in God. And there's 1,000, 10, a million reasons why I believe in God. But he was sort of a nuts and bolts kind of character. And so the analogy I gave him is, look at the Bible. You have roughly 40 different people who have testified to the same thing happening, the birth of Jesus and the resurrection and all. And if you were a judge sitting in a courtroom and 40 people come in and testified that, this is what they saw and it all kind of agreed with each other, you would have a tendency to believe these people because you've had 40 people tell you the same thing happened. And that's what we're dealing with in the Bible. You've got about 40 different people that wrote different books that all kind of talk about the same thing happening. So you would believe that. But atheists don't. And it just seems so silly to me that you would. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you agree with the other 40 people that just testified? The question you have to ask yourself is, what do you gain by not believing in God? And what do you gain by believing in God? Because I can't find anything that is a benefit of not believing in God, a higher power, a supreme being, a creator, some rendition of all of that. Whereas believing in God offers, I can only speak for myself, it gives me tremendous comfort and faith and ability to power on knowing I'm not alone and that I have support. And if I'm paying attention and if I'm listening, God's talking to me. He's giving me messages out there. And, it's up to us to listen to those. And I'll give you a great example of this. One of the greatest that happened in my lifetime. And one of the greatest periods of my life that I thoroughly enjoyed and are seriously wanting to do again. I was looking at a boat up in Sandusky, Ohio, an old beat up sailboat that had been sitting on the hard for 10 years. And the boat needed a lot of work to get it floating again, to get it functional. And I did not want a project boat. I wanted something I could just get in and go sail on and not have to spend, 2 months working on this boat to get it functional. So I'm looking at this boat, and I'm looking at this boat, and I'm looking at this boat, and I'm like, man, I don't want this. This is not. It had been sitting on the hard for 10 years. It had a lot of rot in it and stuff, and the engine hadn't been running 10 years, that kind of stuff. But I was like, okay, let me take a look. And the guy selling the boat was there, so I'm being polite, and I'm walking around, I'm talking about it, all the time saying to myself, I'm not going to buy this boat. I walk around to the back of the boat, and I look at the stern where the name of the boat is. And I was what I call God smacked. God smacked me upside the head with his message telling me that I needed to buy that boat. Why is that? Well, the most important person in my life up to that time was my dog, a Labrador Retriever. Her name is Lily. And what do you think that boat's name was? The Lily 2. I kid you not. I walked around the back, and the boat was named after my dog. So I'm like, okay, God, this is what you want me to do. So I took that boat, and I did some quick work on it, fixing up a few things really quickly. Had to change out all the through hulls, which are parts that go through the boat into the water so you can pull water in for cooling your engine and that kind of stuff. And so I fixed some of those up, and I changed the oil and stuff on the engine, and we put it in the water. The engine started. All the systems worked. The refrigeration worked. A lot of stuff was just there and working. So I ended up taking that boat across Lake Erie, the width of the Erie Canal, down the Hudson River, around New York City, out Long Island Sound to Rhode Island and back. Spent 2 months in Manhasset Bay in New York, where I grew up, and then went back past New York, off the coast of New Jersey, up the Delaware, down the Chesapeake, into the Intercoastal Waterway, took it all the way down to Miami, Florida, then to the inside waterway, all the way down to Marathon, Florida, where I grabbed a mooring ball there in Marathon, and I proceeded to spend the winter down there living on my boat. It was an amazing adventure. So it took me 7 months just to get there. I left in May. I got there in December. 7 months. Incredible time in my life, and something I desperately want to repeat. And so when I say that God can reach out and touch you, God does. He comes out and gives you messages, and he definitely will talk to you if you're paying attention. So I think it's very important for us to have God in our life. And I'm looking at this song and the lyrics, and it looks like, I've not heard it, I've just read the lyrics. Bryan is trying to tell us that he's talking to Jesus, he's saying, Jesus, about my kids. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Give us a like and thumbs up and all that kind of fun stuff, and let's get into this.
I used to talk to my kids about Jesus the same way that my mom and daddy did. I used to talk to my kids about Jesus. Now I talk to Jesus about my kids. When they're born, you dive right in, trying like hell to get them born again. Pull out them Bible stories, then you stumble your way through. You do your best to steer them straight, tell them about who he is and ain't, and answer all their questions, even though you've got some too. I used to talk to my kids about Jesus, how he lived and died and rose again. I used to talk to my kids about Jesus. Now I talk to Jesus about my kids. You lose your grip the more they grow. They won't listen cause they think they know. You watch them going down a dead-end road and you can't stop them. Lord, please watch them. I used to talk to my kids about Jesus. Pray they'd find him sooner than I did. I used to talk to my kids about Jesus. Now I talk to Jesus about my kids. Guide them as they go, cause if anyone does, you know, along the straight and narrow, all the places they could fall. I used to talk to my kids about Jesus. He knew and loved them long before I did. I used to talk to my kids kids about Jesus. Now I talk to Jesus about my kids. I used to talk to my kids about Jesus. Now I talk to Jesus about my kids.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Well, that was an interesting, interesting song. Very interesting song. We all run into that frustration. I wish I had done more with my kids to talk to them about Jesus, and so that they would be more involved with church and have faith, because it's a hard life without faith. Finishing the story that I started, I had a passion born to me in sailing that sailboat, and it reinforced a lifelong dream that I've had to sail around the world. But more importantly, it's kind of given me a goal to do more, to be more for you, for everybody. And my dream, what I'd like to do now is I would like to buy a boat, be able to go sail and scuba dive around the world and show people what it's like under the ocean, to get them to take care about the ocean, to get them concerned about the ocean. Cousteau said people only protect what they love, and you can't love the ocean because all you see is the surface. As we can show you what's underneath, we can hopefully motivate people to be a bit more concerned, and maybe you'll move away from single-use plastics and stop using so much chemicals and spraying all these stuffs on your lawn, and get rid of the fertilizers and the Roundups and all that kind of stuff. So, but that's just me. I feel a motivation to be able to talk about those sorts of things and bring attention to them. And by diving under the water, I can show you the impacts of those, and that makes for a strong story. So God smacked me. I hope he does you, and I hope you're paying attention when that happens. And with that said, go ahead, jump in the comments, tell me your thoughts. I am certainly interested to know, and I'll go look for something else for us to listen to.